Om Namo Narayani. Good morning, good evening, wherever we are all joining in from. Today we are on to our week 79 or 79th class of Sri Lalitha Sahasranamam for beginners. We will be looking at Sri Lalitha's names from 445 to 551. Let us begin with our prayers. ज्ञानरूपाय विद्महे शक्तिंसाय धीमहि तन्नो शक्तिं मा प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ज्ञानरूपाय विद्महे शक्तिंसाय धीमहि तन्नो शक्तिं मा प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ज्ञानरूपाय विद्महे शक्तिंसाय धीमहि तन्नो शक्तिं मा प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ध्यानम् सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत्तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीं मापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकां ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसत् हेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयतां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसिते क्षणां सचरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीं मरुणमाल्यभूषोज्ज्वलां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैरहमित्येव विभावये महेशीम् ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ॐ नमो नारायणी ॐ श्रीं श्रीमात्रे नमः स्वाहा ॐ श्रीं श्रीमात्रे नमः स्वाहा ॐ श्रीं श्रीमात्रे नमः स्वाहा ॐ नमो नारायणी. Let us begin with Sri Lalitha Narayani's 545th name. Om Shreem Pulomajā namah swaha. Om Shreem Pulomajā namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shreem Pulomajā namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shreem Pulomajā namah swaha. Om Shreem Pulomajā namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is worshipped by Pulomajā, the consort of Indra. And Indra is the god among all the gods. He is the leader of all the gods, the demigods. And his place where he lives is called Indraloka. So, and all the deities he rules over is ruled over by Indra. And his wife is Indraṇi. And Indraṇi is also has another name, Pulomajā. She got this name. Ja is born of, like Shailaja name is born of Shail, which is the mountains from the rocks. So Shailaja is Parvati is a name because she's born of the mountains. Pulomajā, she was the daughter born of the sage Puloma. So his daughter was named Pulomajā. Like many times, the daughters have their father's name incorporated into their names. So Pulomajā ārcitāyai. Archita, she was offering archanas, worshipping Sri Lalitha Devi. So Pulomajā ārcitāyai, she is the one whom Pulomajā worshipped. We have seen earlier different deities worshipping her, like Rati, the the wife of consort of Manmatha, worshipped her in one of the names we have seen. Here Pulomajā was worshipping her. She worshipped her. Many times we see spouses worshipping for the welfare, the benefit of their spouse. Here Pulomajā Indraṇi was worshipping for the welfare of Indra, Lord Indra. Lord Indra had committed some sin, wrongdoings, and like the rule of karma does not spare anyone, everyone has to face the karma, good or bad. He lost his power, so he was no longer the ruler of Indraloka. He was banished from there, he became weak, and he was born on earth. There are different stories to it, what sins he committed. And because he wasn't there, Indraloka was taken over and ruled by another asura. He was not. So he was eyeing Indraṇi and Pulomajā, and she wanted safety for her chastity, because when the ruler takes over, he can take over the queen. So she went to the deities to ask for help, and everyone guided her to worship Sri Lalitha. And worshipping Sri Lalitha Narayani, she got the strength, the boons for Lord Indra to regain his strength to come back and take over Indraloka. We have seen Rati also there in the earlier name. She was worshipping for Kamadeva. He was burnt to ashes to worship Devi to regain his powers, for him to come back to life. He came back but without the form. And so the deity, the Devis, even they themselves are deities. They are all aspects born of her, but in the world of creation, every smaller deity, every creation has their own reign, rule, their power to exert, and their powers may weaken and they go to the source to worship and gain the Shakti back and the blessings from the primordial source that she is. Today we will see several of her names as the primordial source. Let us now look at her 546th name. Om Śreem bandha mōcinyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who liberates the Jiva all the living beings from the bondages of samsara, from the bondages of ignorance, from the bondages of their livelihoods, their lives, from the bondage of imprisonment. And what is this bondage? Bandha is being tied together. In fact, the usage in Tamil, in Sanskrit also, bandham is all our relatives. All our families, friends, our relatives are called bandha because we are so strongly connected to them energetically through our blood and all these. And there is also a saying that anything that binds is bandha. And and we saw Bandhasura got his name because when Manmata was burnt into ashes, Lord Ganesha went and bound all the ashes together. And so because he was bound together, Bhanda Asura, he developed this, he had the nature of anger in him, like an Asuric nature. So Bandhasura got his name because he was bound together and with Asuric nature from the ashes. So bandha, mōcinyai, all our bandhas, all those cravings, aversions are all, we are bound to them, whether we like it or hate it or dislike it, we are bound to that. So our thoughts, our cravings, aversions, these bind us. And she is the one who vimochanam, here the V is not there, it's combined with bandha mōcinyai, and she is the one who gives vimochanam is the usage when we pray to the divine to say any of our hardships we pray for, please give me vimochanam from this aspect. So we pray for vimochanam for humanity, vimochanam for Mother Earth, vimochanam for the environments to come into balance. So anything to give that liberation from the turmoils and whatever disharmonies one is going through or people are going through or beings are going through, she is the one who gives the vimochani. Here she is the bandha mochani. So she is the one who can release us, liberate us from all the bondages and the bondages of ignorance, because it is mainly all the wrong things that happen is because we do things unknowingly, not knowing there's a better way, not knowing that this is actually going to harm us in return. We don't see the full course of what we do or think. We just see the near fruits that we can visualize. But the seers, the sages can see far, and she being the source can see the entirety of this path is good, this is not good, do this is better. So that's why especially in Hinduism and generally, when we are set on the spiritual path, when our soul, our heart yearns to know what is the truth, what is the meaning of life, the seeking, when we are set on the path, there are so many scriptures to learn from, to understand, read. But beyond all the scriptures, we need a guru. Guru is that aspect of the divine come in the form to guide us in our life, that we can relate to on a personal level. Scriptures are words, but we need another living form of that scripture, of the Vedas, of the totality to come and guide us. So the guru aspect is so important because the guru can show us which to take much more easily than for us to try so many other things. And the guru comes to release us from the bondages. She is the bandha mochini. So she releases all from all the bondages of life to free us from the ignorance. What we think is right may be wrong, and what we think is wrong may be right from the totality of the perspective. And these subtler guidances can bind us in our ignorance and release us of this ignorance and bring us into the light, to the truth. She is the one, the Guru is the one. And we are so fortunate that we have Sri Shakti Amma, who herself verily is Sri Lalitha, who herself is verily Narayani, has come in the human form to release humanity, Mother Earth, all the beings from the bondage of the ignorance, from the bondage of whatever is holding us from going back to the source. And we have seen in the spiritual aspects, in the life forms, there is the materialistic aspect as well as the spiritual aspect. We need a balance of both to exist in life. And this balance, when we master it, life becomes so smooth and filled with joy and abundance and bliss. And when we are in ignorance, it takes us, our decisions, our actions take us into the path of this, all the bondages and ignorance that brings in this miseries and the hardships and all that. She is bandha mōcinyai, who releases us from all this. Her 547th name, Om Śreem barbarālakāyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who has wavy curls of hair on her forehead. In some of the texts of Sri Lalitha Sahasranamam, instead of barbarālakāyai, there is the usage bandhurālakā. So both are correct, but for our purposes today, we will be looking at barbarālakāyai namah swaha. I don't know in the yagam if they're going to use barbarālakāyai or bandhurālakā. So if it is bandhurālakā, it follows with the previous nama bandha mōcinyai bandhurālakā. So it goes there. But many scriptures follow it as barbarālakāyai, and many times when you listen to Lalitha Sahasranamam, this is followed barbarālakāyai. And this ālakām is these curls, like we ladies especially, and these curly, like we have bangs, we cut the hair, and some have it naturally, some go and to the salon to have the curls done up, the short curls in the forehead front to add to the beauty. For her, it is a very natural beauty, and this is bringing us to her visual form from that cosmic totality, and this name is bringing us to the visual description of Sri Lalitha Narayani with these little curls, wavy curls on her forehead. Her 548th name, Om Śreem Vimarśa rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Om Śreem, Om Śreem, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Om Śreem, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Vimarśa rūpiṇyai, namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is of the nature, the form of Vimarśa. And we have seen what this Vimarśa is. Prakāśā and Vimarśa, the reflection. Vimarśa is the reflection, the expressed form, the one that taking the form of the formless, Shiva. Shiva, the one who is the Prakāśā, the self-effulgent, the formless. So she is the expressed form. Or another interpretation is she is Vimarśa rūpiṇi, she is the form of speech. This Prakāśā and Vimarśa we have seen, and it reinforces in other names. Here she is Vimarśa rūpiṇi. She is this. When we saw again another name that's we will be looking at today, from that stillness, the potential energy of Shiva that is immobile, that cannot move, it's inert. And for it to move, she is the Shakti. And she is the one with which the entire creation functions. And that Vimarśa aspect, that Shakti of hers, which comes into the movement state, it's like again the two sides of the same coin, Shiva and Shakti. The potential energy and the kinetic energy, she is the kinetic energy of that one energy. She is the Vimarśa rūpiṇi. And with her Vimarśa character, the form, that movement creates. From that movement of that inert state, creation develops from the subtlest to the grossest. And if she is the Brahman, she is the Prakāśā, Shive Sarvartha Sadhike, she is the Shive, she is also the Shakti. And she is the movement, if Shiva is compared to Brahman, then Shakti is compared to the Maya. But she is both. She is the potential as well as the kinetic, but in the comprehension, for our understanding, that one becomes the dual, and from the dual, the multifold manifests. And the multifold that manifests is the Maya. She is that form of that creation from which everything is manifested. She is the Vimarśa rūpiṇi. All that is expressed, manifested is her form. Her 549th name. Om Śreem Vidyayai namah swaha. Om Śreem, Om Śreem Vidyayai, Vidyayai namah swaha. namah swaha. Om Śreem, Om Śreem, Vidyayai, Vidyayai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Vidyayai, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Vidyayai, namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is Vidya, the knowledge. This knowledge that gives us the spiritual enlightenment, gives us the final liberation. We have seen Vidya, that wisdom, that knowledge of the spiritual seeker, and then there is all the Vidya we need, the knowledge, the wisdom to live our lives in various, multifarious ways. So one of the Upanishads talks about the Paravidya and Aparavidya. Para is that totality of that Vidya that takes us to her, the divine. The Apara is the one that we need for our day-to-day existence, for our growth, survival, all the various forms. We go to school, universities, and still continue learning from various other aspects, from various experiences, from people, all that. It's an ongoing learning. And that Vidya, she is both. She is the mother who showers that wisdom to bring us back to her. She is the mother that showers that wisdom to live our lives in joy, in harmony as well. So we have seen in her, one of the earliest names, her 25th name, you remember, we saw Om Śreem Shuddha Vidyankura Dvajapankti Dvayojvalayai namah swaha. Shuddha Vidya, that pure Vidya that she brings us to her, the Sri Vidya, Shuddha Vidya, Ankura, the Dvija Pankti, the 2 rows of her teeth, they shine, Jwala, they shine, they beam as they are that pure Vidya. So describing her in her physical form from head to toe, we saw each aspect of her. And we saw the description of her teeth as the Shuddha Vidya, that Vidya that is that purest of Vidya. And she gives that, she is that, and she bestows that to her devotees. She is that supreme Vidya. Her 550th name, Om Śreem Vyadadi Jagat Prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem Vyadadi Jagat. Om Śreem, Om Śreem Vyadadi Jagat Prasuve namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Śreem, Om Śreem Vyadadi Jagat Prasuve namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Śreem Viyadadi Jagat Prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem Viyadadi Jagat Prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who created Akasha, the space, and all the elements, the entirety of creation, the entire cosmos, via the space. And via the Adi is all that along with that space. We saw in each of the chakras, there is a Devi, and then this Devi and Adi, all the others, the group of them together. So via the Adi, the space, and all the others together, Jagat, the whole creation, Prasuve, she gave birth to all that, the elements, the Panchabhutas. Here specifically it starts with the space element, Akasha element. And from, if you are coming from the subtlest to the grossest, when she is giving birth, it will be from the subtlest to the grossest. It's only during dissolution, the dissolution happens from the grossest back to the subtlest, or in the liberation. But when she creates, when from that one she becomes the two, the Shiva Shakti, and the Shiva Shakti then manifests with her Vimarśa, she starts manifesting the various forms. Even before the Panchabhutas are formed, that before the mind is formed, and then the Tanmatras, we saw the Indriyas, the five organs of senses, the five senses, the five actions, the five, all these subtleties that are then manifested, and each of them associated with the elements of the air, the space, then the vayu, the air, and then to the grossest. And all this she manifested, she created. So creation, she gave birth to all this. And this vayu, we see the Mother Earth, the Prithvi, the Lord of that is Mother Earth. We don't say he, it's she, Mother Earth. Then Varuna is the Lord of the Jal, the water. Agni, the Lord Agni is the Lord of the fire. Vayu Bhagavan, Vayu Bhagavan is the Lord of Vayu. For the space, Vyuman is the Lord of space. Vyoma, Vyadadi. So Vyoma, Lord, she, from her manifests Vyoman and the space, Vyat. And this Vyat space has this characteristic, like it's all pervasive. Is there anything without space? Manifestation. It is like the painter needs a screen on which to paint. It could be a canvas, it could be a wall, it could be a leaf, anything that a substratum on which the artist can paint. You need something, could be fabric, anything, that base is there. And space provides that space for everything else to hold on that. And we have seen from the chakras, we saw the chakra devis from the each of the chakras, each of the, apart from the sapta dhatus, we saw each of them, they rule. They are also the elements for each of these chakras. And the throat element, the akasha. And here it sustains all the other rest of it, air, agni, the fire, the water, the earth, all the elements and all the manifestations of all the various combinations of all these elements is what the entirety of creation is. The entirety of the expressed world is the permutations, combinations of the Panchabhutas, these, and the Vayu, not the Vayu, the Akasha provides a substratum, that space that holds everything for it to be there. And from this, that subtlety, the grossness gets to manifest. Her 551st name, Om Śreem. Before we go on to that, yeah, this is what I started. I wanted to mention the space is like the closest you can kind of identify with to the divine, because it's everywhere. There's no place without that space. We've seen Narayani holds in her two hands the conch, represents a space. The disc, the wheel, represents the time. And it's the time and space in which everything is manifested. And the space seems like when you go near, it's like you're getting closer to it, but as you go near, it seems more expansive and further away. Like we see the horizon, we think we are going near and near to it, and yet as we go nearer and nearer, it seems to elude us, it seems to be far away. And that is the nature of the Brahman. When we go closer and closer to the divine, it seems like we've gone very close, and then our mind cannot capture it. It seems, and then it becomes so elusive, it seems further away and much more expansive. So the space has that characteristic of the Brahman, that is everywhere, near and yet not that near. And this is all from how we gauge it from the mind. And to reach the divine, we go beyond the mind. So mind is a tool. The tool is only an instrument. It is not the ultimate journey. It is a tool we use to progress and to finally reach the goal. Her 551st name, Om Śreem Sarvavyadhi Prasamanyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who clears, who destroys all diseases, all illnesses. She is one that can shamani, complete annihilation of all that, of what? Vyadhi. Vyadhi is disease. Sarva Vyadhi, all the diseases. And normally when we talk of diseases, it's always diseases related to the body, but now we have diseases related to the mind, different aspects of that. And the greatest, in the highest in the spiritual path is the bhava rogam. That's a beautiful explanation of rogam is disease, vyadhi is disease. bhavarogam is the beauty of creation. The divine mother has created entirety, multiverses, and so many creations, humanity being one of them. And to go back to the source, to understand, to come out of this ignorance, bandha mōcinyai, to let go of all these bondages. What is holding us in bondage is the ignorance. And what is this ignorance? This rogam, the disease, is called bhavarogam. We identify with each and every little creation, and we lose sight of that oneness. We lose sight of that totality behind, that oneness behind every aspect, and that we are part of that one. And that is the Bhavarogam. She is Bhavani, the one who manifests. From her comes forth all these manifestations. She is Bhavani, we saw in her name. And yet, Bhava Rogam, it is called a disease because we have lost touch with the truth, that truth of that oneness. We are caught up in this ignorance of I, my, and this, you. That duality comes, but with the duality, we have the ignorance that all these different things, the compartmentalization, segregation brings in this so many identifications and separations. And when that truth of oneness is lost and more of that separateness keeps thriving, that becomes the disease. Because when the mind is not able to understand, it is all the oneness. Like we have, many of us have heard the African Ubuntu. So I belong because you are there. So that oneness is inherent. When you go back into the people who are still so much with nature, they are living in that oneness. They worship the nature. That is, they're worshiping the air, the sun, the light, the water. So they are worshiping the Panchabhutas, the elements, the five elements in creation. On a daily basis, they identify with that. Their life, their decisions, everything is with that oneness of the Panchabhuta. So they will not harm the earth. They will not take more than what is needed. Whatever they take, they also give back. They understand this full cycle. So the environment is kept pristine, and it is valued, and it is worshipped. And when we move away from that oneness of the creation, like all the native people, if you go back, you will see their needs are aligned with Mother Nature. So their desires, their thoughts, their mind, everything, their heart is in that oneness, and their decisions come from that state of oneness. But in modern society, as we see it, man has moved so much away from that oneness. There is so much separation. That is the Bhava Rogam, that a disease that has gone berserk in identifying with each of these different things and lost sight of that oneness that she is. So she clears, she annihilates all the physical illnesses, the mental illnesses, and all the bhavarogam, all this ignorance we saw earlier. She's a bandha vimochini. She is the sarva vyadi prasamani. She clears all the diseases, including the disease of ignorance. So just chanting the name, her name every day with the mantras so subtly ingrained in each of them itself, the mantras do their work of clearing diseases. And you see many who are in the practice of the chanting of the mantras, they radiate that there is the energy, that there's a glow in them because they are so much closer to the divine, and they have so much of the divine coming into them, or it's already there, it's manifesting from within, they are growing in that aspect. And also, interestingly, when we look at the Sri Chakra, the Sri Yantra, the closer you go to the center, the Bindu, the core, the innermost is again clearing all the diseases from the various realms of our existence. We see only from the physical, include the physical is very obvious. Because it is obvious, we can see it and relate to it, the physical diseases. The other realms of diseases, imbalances, all these have to be cleared, annihilated, cleared. Prasamani, she is the one who can clear it and take us to her, as long as our focus is there. Focus is on the goal. But along the goal, we have our distractions, but that one pointed focus of going to the source, to the truth. And the truth shines through these people. You can see them, these beings who are closer to her as well, because they are so much aligned with that oneness, the totality of that oneness that she is. Shive Sarvartha Sadhike, she is the one, Sharanyaj, we surrender to that. And that state of surrender, it is not like Amma says, the surrender that humans refer to is not the surrender to the divine. She says beautifully, I didn't locate which connect with the divine, it's there. When we say surrender in the human terms, it's like you give up all your power and you let the other person rule you. And that means that is a surrender that is disempowering you. So you don't have any say, the other person rules. That is the surrender. But surrendering to the divine is not at all that. When you surrender to the divine, you become dissolved in the divine. Like Amma says, like you have one drop of water. When you put that one drop of water in the ocean, it becomes the ocean. So when you surrender to the divine, then you become the divine. So there is no separation in that oneness. And that is the level of the surrender that happens when you surrender to the divine. So it happens not from the head, it happens from the heart. This act, this surrendering, it's an experiential one. So that total acceptance of all that is, and you're surrendering to all that is, to that oneness, and that opens up the entirety. And then we shed all these various compartments. It is the shackles on the different compartmentalizing aspects of the mind. We drop and the mind drops, and then the soul aspect merges with that oneness of that one soul, that totality that is. So any disease we have, physical or otherwise, it is she we have to go to who can destroy, clear all these fears. Let us chant and offer our chantings to Sri Lalitha Narayani for this week. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shaktiyam Saya Dhimahi Tanno Shaktiyam Ma Prachodayāt. Om Sarvamangala-mangalye Shive Sarvartha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Śreem Śrīmatre namah swaha. Om Śreem Pulomajā ārcitāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pulomajā ārcitāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pulomajā ārcitāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem bandha mōcinyai namah swaha. Om Śreem bandha mōcinyai namah swaha. Om Śreem bandha mōcinyai namah swaha. Om Śreem barbarālakāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem barbarālakāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem barbarālakāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Vimarśa rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Vimarśa rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Vimarśa rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Om Śreem vidyayai namah swaha. Om Śreem vidyayai namah swaha. Om Śreem vidyayai namah swaha. Om Śreem Viyadadi jagat prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem Viyadadi jagat prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem Viyadadi jagat prasuve namah swaha. Om Śreem sarvavyadhi prasamanyai namah swaha. Om Śreem sarvavyadhi prasamanyai namah swaha. Om Śreem sarvavyadhi prasamanyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Shri Matre namah swaha. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Let us offer our chantings and our prayers to Sri Lalitha Narayani, seeking her grace and her blessings for all of us, our loved ones, all of humanity, all the sentient beings on Mother Earth and all the worlds, to shower her grace and blessings for all of us to walk this path of spirituality, of living righteously, of doing the dharma, dhana, the punya, the good activities of karma, receive this gift of devotion for her, from her, to connect with her within us, to connect with her in each other, to connect with her in the totality of the creation, to always be in that state of that oneness of all the soul qualities of peace, wisdom, joy, bliss, abundance, contentment, generosity, compassion, honoring of all life forms, gratitude, devotion, soul strength, atma balam, all the soul qualities through her grace and blessings, through the grace and blessings of Sri Lalitha Narayani, through the grace and blessings of Sri Shakti Amma Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Yes, one thing before I ask for questions I wanted to mention is in the last one when we talked of Sarva Vyadi and the Bhava Rogam, Vyadi Rogam are diseases, and she is the one who destroys, clears all the diseases, illnesses from all realms, physical and the others. And the question can arise, the spiritual seeker is going to the source. He has experienced, she has experienced all that is in the realm of life at some point, seeking the deeper meaning of life. And in that process, if one has to shed the bhavarogam, we seek her blessings to shed all this duality, to go beyond that. She is in that entirety of all the creation. Every form in creation that we see is her form. And even what we don't see, like air we don't see, space is not something visible, it is there. It is also her. So why does she create, and why do we have to go back? So the Divine Mother, the Cosmic Mother, the Adi Parashakti, when there is so much talent and skill, it cannot be kept quiet. If it has to be quiet, then the Shiva form is good. In that Shiva form, everything is in the potential form. It can stay still, immersed in the Prakāśā state where nothing is needed. It is self-contained with everything. There is no need. At some point, for creation to happen, we saw that subtle movement, that spanda, that vibration starts, that little vibration, a little desire, movement comes, and the Shiva form transforms into the Shakti form, the kinetic form. And when that kinetic form, Shakti, has so much energy, with so much of all the skills in it, it will automatically manifest. It is the nature to manifest. The Shakti cannot be contained. If it is contained, it becomes Shiva. But if the Shakti has come into the Vimarśa form, it is inherent, innate to manifest. The Shakti has to express itself. And the Divine Mother gives birth to all these different creations, and each one that she's created is her child. And the mother wants her children to be happy, right? No mother wants to give birth to a child and want the child to suffer. And yet we children go through so much suffering, and we ask, why do we have to suffer if all this has been created? All this is like a playground. Like we enter the game to play, and play itself inherently means something joyful. It is playful, it is joyful, it is fun. We are interacting with so many. You don't play with yourself. You need a companion, you need a group of people. So that's how a play is. You don't have solo play, and solo play again, you have to do something with that, like solitaire or whatever. Play inherently is something so joyful, wonderful, giving, taking, doing things together joyfully. But we see, as we move away from the center, the core essence of that play and playfulness, sometimes, players become nasty to each other. They moved away from that oneness. They moved into ignorance. From light, they moved into ignorance, the darkness. And then play is not play fun anymore. It becomes meanness. It's more about winning, and you go into various nefarious activities just to win. And greed, so many other qualities that are not the mothers, the negative qualities sent in, the asuric nature starts taking over more. So this creation was a creation of play for all her children to be playful, joyful, to live a life of abundance, joy, bliss, happiness, health, all that. And because we have moved away from the center, the core, then all these various vyadhis come in, set in. And even if they come in, she is the only recourse to go back to clear us and bring us back into the path of light, truth, and that oneness. Because we moved away from the play, life becomes too serious, too miserable, painful, all that. And we have the Guru, the scriptures to bring us back into that state, into the path of light, into the path of that oneness, to move away from the ignorance. So Prasamani, she is the one who can clear it, who can destroy that ignorance and the diseases. Om Namo Narayani. We have questions on the marga. Should Prasamanyai be pronounced as Prasamanyai or Prasamanyai? So with the S with the accent on top is the sh. It's not sh. It's not Prasamanyai. It's Prasa, like Śreem. Om Śreem. So the stress is more in the front of the palate, upper palate. Prasamanyai. It is not pressure, where the pressure is more on the roof of the palate, top of the palate, highest arch. It's more in the front upper palate, prasamanyai. No, prasuve is there, prasamanyai. Sa is, it's not prasamanyai, it's prasamanyai, sa. So there is that, it's not sha, not sa, but sa. Sa is okay. Go through the different sounds, the sa without anything above. Okay, we went through that now. I'm just seeing your question. So like sugar, it is not sugar. You can see sugar is different from sugars. Thus the S with an accent on top is like the sugar, prasamani. And the sa is like, it's not sa but sa, but it is not like sh, which is like, that is the stronger sh. That is with the S with the dot underneath is the sh. And any questions? If there are no questions, we can stop the recording. Om Namo Narayani. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're... Have you stopped the recording, Bhagya?